part of the journey is the end. We said goodbye to Stan Lee after a big, long life this year. Do you guys have any poignant memories of him or stories of meeting him?
I'm gonna make this joke again.
It's okay, I love it. I'll act like I never heard it. Go ahead. What's the story?
Playing Hulk is like my generation's Hamlet. We're all gonna get a chance to do it. And so it's been, you know, and so I was really nervous about, you know, would I please him? And I didn't meet him until the premiere of Avengers. And I kind of walked up to him sheepishly, and he saw me. He's like, "Hey!" And he's like, "You got it, kid." And I was like, "Oh, that's amazing! Thank you, Mr. Lee." You know, but I was so nervous about, other than Downey and Kevin, like, I was so nervous that he would be happy with what I'd done. You know?
How about you, Robert, on the first Iron Man? Is that when you met him for the first time?
Yeah, mine goes to in Civil War. Rhodey and Tony are having a moment at the end, and he's like a UPS guy or a FedEx guy, and so he was outside the glass, and it was just this thing of like, you know, it's like all of us. He's a really big deal, but he's just another schmuck who we have to get his coverage in the can, too. I'm like, and roll sound. He's like, I have a delivery for Tony Stank. And they're like, great. And then, like, it went completely downhill after that. And I was like, not only is that my memory through the glass, but also I am exactly like him. It all goes downhill after take one. You got to capture it before I tire.
Please.
You're right. Actually, take two is my strong take. But we should stop after one.
How about you, Scarlett?
And he guided it back to himself. Nothing's changed.
I also had a similar moment to Mark when I saw him. I think it was after the Iron Man 2 premiere, and I didn't know how the audience or anybody would react to this beloved character in my interpretation of her, and especially because I wasn't originally cast, and so I also had like a lot of feelings about that. But yeah, I had a lot of feelings about it, and I saw him also in the theater, and he was very excited, and I, of course, was like, I had a big sigh of relief after that. You know, just he was so happy with that. You know, that he got to see that character on screen, and it was pretty cool. You must have a lot of memories of him, Ken.
Well, yes, lots and lots. And the amazing thing is, just as you've all said, he said the right thing to the right person at all times.
Yeah.
Every interaction was what one's dream interaction with Stan Lee would be. He made that come true every single time. I've talked before about, he left me a voicemail once in like 2004 or something. I never got a voicemail from Stan Lee, and I kept it for years until I think the phone disintegrated. But it was "Fearless Feige, Stan Lee here." I listened to it over and over and over, and that's sort of what he was always like, and always supportive. We've put a video together that I think, I'm not sure when we're going to put it out, in the home video window probably. But it is we've never done this before, a behind the scenes of every cameo Stan did, all the B-roll that was shot, and his stand-ups there. And, you know, his passing was very emotional for all of us, but it suddenly all came back to me just last week when I watched it. It's tremendous, and it's, you know, he outside Disney Hall, that first time, and the Tony Stank FedEx, and the deleted cameo, the first cameo he did on Avengers, when you two were in the cafe outside.
See, I was going back to Fantastic Four. I have the first time I met him was in 2004 when I was doing Johnny Storm, and the day that he was on set, we actually happened to have a B-roll crew on set that day for whatever reason. And one of my first interactions with him, it's all caught on B-roll, and I've found the footage, and it's just at the time he was, you know, I was very early in my career. It was the biggest role I'd ever done. To me, someone like him was so overwhelming for me, and he was so, you know, true Stan Lee format, you know, just so full of life and just so kind and gregarious, and just made me feel right at home. And yeah, we have the entire exchange on film somewhere, and it just
I tell the story, and the story actually is from Fantastic Four 1 in Toronto, when he came to do his cameo, and suddenly you couldn't find the crew. Like, Stan was getting ready in the trailer, and you look around, and we're in the middle of the city, and half the crew is gone. And I went, what? And the AD said they all ran to the comic shop on Queens, whatever, to buy comics to have him sign. And sure enough, he came in, he shot, and then he signed every single one.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the beginning of what I call the national holiday every time he came. Every time he came to set.
Did he ever talk about how like that was his like ultimate vision to have this stuff all up there on screen, or like?
He was always so, despite how gregarious and taking credit and I should have more role, he was so humble. And he always just talked about how overwhelming it was that this had all gotten this big. And right up until even the last time I saw him, all I'd want to do is talk about him creating the characters and how amazing that was to co-create all these legends, these icons. And he'd go, yeah, but the cameos. The cameos. I swear, it's what he was most proud of.
That's his curtain call.
Yeah.
You don't get a curtain call if you're writing comics.
Yeah.
You get it. How about you, Jeremy?
It's funny. I have a lot of experience with me. I aspire to be as strong-minded. And, the guy has lived an amazing life, and he's still always stick with me because I spent a lot of time with him more recently, and you know, when you're that, it's so full of life, right? And when you spend time with him, you just know this guy is just burning a fire of life. He's got a great sense of humor, a smart mind, and you know, I hope and aspire to be anywhere half of what he was as a man. Right? It's really, really fantastic. I really, really enjoyed my time with him.
Cool. How about you, Chris?
Just his sort of childlike wonder and attitude and enthusiasm, you know, is something that every time he'd come on the set with all of these sort of stories you hear of him coming on, and you know, you'd want to talk about something more kind of like, well, what it all means and so on, and it was just like, no, I'm just telling stories and we're having fun and this is entertainment, and there's a deeper meaning and a message and so on, which he achieved so beautifully. But the childlike nature about him, I thought, oh well, it's good. We can all just stay big kids forever, and he's the perfect example.